Hello, my loves. I'm so excited to have you join me here on our very first module about light work. And in this mini series about light work, you are going to learn all about what a light worker is, what that means if you are a light worker, how you can harness that energy to really help raise the collective consciousness of the planet and humanity, and to really help yourself grow personally and professionally, spiritually, emotionally, all those sorts of things. And I'm also going to give you some really helpful and powerful tools and techniques that you can use to help, protect your energy as a light worker. It is energetically draining sometimes, so it's important that we really take care of ourselves and set boundaries. So I'm going to give you all that you need about that and more. So stay tuned. This is the very first episode, and in this episode we're just going to have a little chat about what a light worker is and how do you know if you are a light worker. So I'd like to start off with letting you know that if you are watching this video, if you're a part of my membership, it is very likely that you are a light worker, because you're all about that self-growth, that personal development, that emotional, spiritual, physical success and transformation, essentially. So anyone who is wanting to make the world a better place and sees suffering and wants to do something about it, or sees that there's a better way to handle things, is a light worker. A light worker is somebody who's really emotionally tapped into the energy of others. They can sense what other people are feeling and thinking sometimes. They can really get a feel of the energy in the room. You walk into a room and you just know, oh, this feels tense, or oh, this actually feels really vibey. Like, I feel really good vibes right now. Like, everyone's really chill and happy. And no one needs to say a word. You just know, you just sense it. You can also sense the energies and the emotions of people that you're in conversation with. You can tell if someone, is drawn to you or if they're repelled by you. And you can feel drawn to people who you resonate with, and then you can feel repelled by people who maybe aren't on the same vibration as you. That doesn't mean you're better or worse than them. It just means that they don't vibe with you. They're not on the same vibration, and that's their intuition. That's a light worker's intuition, just saying, okay, this person's not for you. If you get that, like, oh, I'm not sure about that person, then you need to trust that, because light workers are really intuitive. They can really sense what people are thinking, what their intentions are. So not only are light workers able to intuitively pick up on the energies of others, but they're also very empathetic, and they really want to end suffering for all. They hate people suffering. They hate seeing suffering anywhere in the world. They just can't stand it. They really empathize on a deep level with people, with animals, with humanity as a whole, with the planet. They see something and they just want to change it for the better. If they see something that triggers them or makes them feel like, oh, that's just so unjust or unfair, or that's so sad, they really want to, use their power to make a positive change, a positive impact on the world. They're usually vegetarian or vegan, or, they really like to limit the amount of meat they consume or dairy or things like that, because they just feel so guilty for even consuming in that way. They love to recycle. They love anything sustainable. They want to make the world a better place. They want to make the planet healthy. If they see rubbish in the street, they might go and pick it up and put it in a bin, or if they see an injured animal, they'll take it to the rescue. Yeah, they've probably saved a lot of animals in their life and taken people under their wing. If they see someone looking lonely and sad, they'll take those people under their wing and hang out with them. And they often don't know how to set boundaries, because they are just so compassionate. They just want to help everybody, and sometimes that can be at their own detriment as well. So that's something to be aware of as a light worker. You really need to set boundaries around what you are willing to do for others, because it can be very energetically draining work. Light workers often work in careers that help others or heal others. So things like therapy, psychology, nursing, doctors, teachers, yoga practitioners, fitness instructors, life coaches, psychics, mediums, energy healers, anything spiritual, anything where they can help and heal people or animals, rescue, veterinary services, animal rescue, foster caring, volunteering in the community. working in homeless shelters, all those sorts of things are light work roles that light workers are often drawn to because they just have to help. They just love to help in any way they can. And it's not always just in their career. Sometimes it's in their families and their friendship circles. They're always just that person that everyone goes to for advice, and they give the best advice, and they're really, really helpful and supportive. They'll do anything for anyone and expect really nothing in return, which is a really beautiful thing to have, but it's also something that they need to set boundaries around as well, because as I said before, it's very energetically draining if they're just giving and not open to receive. Oftentimes they find it hard to take kindness from others because they are the ones that want to give all the kindness. They're intuitive and guided by their intuition. They listen to the inner voice and they feel like they just get a gut instinct or just a sensation of knowing which is the right path to take. Essentially, a light worker is someone who is a spiritual being committed to serving the planet, humanity, and all the planet's inhabitants, animals, people, everything. So that brings us to our next question, which is, how do I know if I am a light worker? So, like I said before, if you are on this membership and you are all about that personal growth, that personal development, helping others, wanting to be a better person for yourself and for your family and for your friends and for your community, then yes, you are 100% a light worker. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's just a really decent person who has good morals and values. You may or may not even be aware yet that you're a light worker. Sometimes we are completely oblivious to it. You probably haven't even heard what the term light worker means if you are new to spirituality and awakening, and that's okay. But now that you are learning about it, I think that you'll start to pick up that perhaps you are one. You're a light worker if you know that you're here for a higher purpose. You feel like there's something that you need to bring to this world, and you never feel completely satisfied until you're doing that, until you're really living your passion. And that's because you're being called to raise the collective consciousness of humanity and the planet through your light work, through being the light that people want to see. People are drawn to you. They're drawn to the light. They're drawn to the love. They're drawn to the kindness, the compassion, the empathy, the way that you communicate with people. People are drawn to that, and it makes the world a better place just by being you, just by being the beautiful, caring, compassionate, kind, and empathetic person that you are. You are raising the vibration of our planet and making the world a better place. So well done. Let's all give ourselves a clap. You intuitively understand people and animals. People feel like they can really talk to you and just get them. They just feel safe with you and you just know them, They feel like, oh my God, how did you know that about me? Oh, you know me better than I know myself. Or, they'll say things like, I feel like I've met you before. Or, do I know you from somewhere? You'll get people randomly in a restaurant or a pub, or you're having a conversation with a stranger, and they'll just be like, I feel like I really know you from somewhere. And that's because you really connect with them on a soul level, and they just feel safe with you and supported because you intuitively understand how they are feeling. Animals feel really safe around you. You might have animals just coming up to you in the street. You might have cats that, usually are really timid around their owners, and then they come up to you and the owners are like, what the hell? Why is my cat so friendly with you? She hates everyone else, because you're a light worker, and they know that. Cats and dogs, all animals, they're really intuitive, and they know when there's a light worker around, and they'll just come up to you. If you're a light worker, you're probably one of those people that see a dog in the street and have to put it in your car and find its home. Like, you can't just leave it there. You just can't stop thinking about it if you don't take that dog and help it find its home. Light worker children probably feel really fun and happy and bubbly around you. Children usually love light workers because they just feel safe around them. Children are very intuitive as well, so trust that. People may tell you that you're really smart or intelligent or wise, or you're an old soul, or you're wise beyond your years. And how do you know all that stuff? You're so young, you're so wise, you're so intelligent. Oh my goodness. And that's because you are intuitive and you're receiving wisdom from your higher self. You're receiving wisdom from your spirit guides. You're intuitively tapping in to all of your past lives, your future lives, because you are an old soul. You have experienced many lifetimes, and you have a lot of spiritual growth inside of your unconscious psyche. And you call upon that unconsciously and use that to help other people. And they're like, whoa, how did you know that? Like, you are so wise. And it's just intuition. You're very intuitive. People feel intrigued by your intuition. People feel intrigued by your wisdom, things that you say and things that you have to offer. It's like, whoa, that was deep. Because you are so sensitive to other people's energy, it can be really, really draining and you need a lot of downtime. You might be a bit of a loner. You might feel like you don't really fit in anywhere, or you don't really connect with people as much as you would like to. It might feel like you haven't found your tribe. Unfortunately, as well, in the case of many light workers, they have often experienced some sort of challenge or trauma or difficulty, often in early childhood or early life, where they may have been abused or neglected or assaulted, or, one or both of their parents were neglectful or absent. They might have been bullied, or their teachers were nasty to them, or they might have been in an accident, or they had some learning difficulty that was really hard for them. Any sort of thing like that that's helped them learn compassion and empathy for others through their own experiences of suffering is often the case of many light workers. Unfortunately for me, it was very similar. I had a lot of early life traumas and experiences that left me at the time feeling really unwanted, unloved, unappreciated, unworthy, all sorts of things. And at the time, it was really, really freaking hard. But as I've done the shadow work, as I've gotten older and I've worked through all of that stuff, and I'm still working through it, we always are doing more inner work all the time. Us light workers, we're always growing and developing. But as I've learned more and more, I can see now that the challenges that I've experienced, the traumas that I've experienced, were all part of my spiritual awakening, and my awakening to my light work and my intuitive abilities and my psychic gifts and all of those things. Because without the suffering that I endured, I would not be able to really resonate and relate to other people who are suffering, or I wouldn't really be able to understand emotions in the way that I do now. And so it's actually a blessing in disguise. Sometimes our awakenings are really friggin' hard and painful and traumatic, but they are also necessary for our personal growth. And we've got to remember too that as a soul, we signed up for this life when we incarnated here on earth, and we knew what we were signing up for, because it helps us ascend to a higher level of consciousness as a soul to be able to experience these things and gain that wisdom and understanding and take it back to source, so that when we die, we have evolved those parts of us, those shadow parts that perhaps we haven't healed in past lifetimes. That's why we're here. We're here now to work through specific energies that perhaps aren't resolved from past lives or that we haven't experienced yet. And we want to get a whole holistic healing approach throughout our soul journey here on earth. Like, that's why we're here. We're incarnated here for a reason. And that reason is to help the earth, help humanity, help ourselves as individual souls grow to a higher level of consciousness, so that we can ascend to a higher level. And for many light workers, they have struggled with mental illness or depression, anxiety, things like that. And I want you to know that those things, those mental illnesses, quote unquote, aren't necessarily what society has perceived them to be or projected them to be. And oftentimes these mental illnesses are just our intuition really calling us to look at our circumstances, look at what's going on around us in our environment, in our friendship circles, in our relationships, in our career, in our finances, in the way we live our lives, in our physical environment, anything like that. It's helping us sort of determine what is working for us and what isn't. So these mental illnesses are often just your awakening to your circumstances for change to occur. Because if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So these challenges and difficulties that we experience are really just helping us really shake up our world so that we can make change. Change is a good thing. Sometimes we won't change until something shakes us to our core and forces us to change. And that's why we experience difficulties. So as a light worker, you've probably experienced this for you to even become aware of this change and aware of the fact that you have a desire to be more and do more for this world. Light workers are generally spiritual, but you're away from religion a little bit. So, rather than believing in one specific God to worship as an external person or source, they recognize that God lives within all of us. We are our own power. We do not need to worship an external power because we are our own power, and we step into our own power, and we have our own passions, and we live our own purpose, and we embody God or the universe or source or whatever you like to call it. So light workers often see God as an internal power within all beings rather than just an external figure to be worshipped. Light workers are creative, and they are very in touch with their feminine and masculine sides. They have a healthy balance of feminine and masculine. Often they feel different from family, friends, and peers. They feel like they don't really click with any specific group or minority. They feel like they're kind of a bit of an outsider. They don't really have much to offer in certain friendships and social circles because they just feel like they haven't found their tribe yet. When they find their tribe, they feel really supported, held, committed, and dedicated to that group because they just feel so at home with those sorts of people. And often those people are also light workers as well. They can understand and relate to you, and they know that you're not crazy when you talk about these things. They know that you're really just like them, and you're here to make the world a better place. And maybe everyone else has just not woken up yet. Maybe they're just not as far along in their spiritual journey as you are, and that's okay. It doesn't mean they're better or worse or less than you, or that you're more than them, or vice versa. It just means that, you can help them because you've obviously lived more lifetimes, or you've gained more spiritual experience than their soul has at this stage, and you're able to help them awaken to theirs without being pushy, of course. We do it just through being us, just by being a light being, just by being a kind person, really. Light workers have deep self-awareness. They understand that their actions have consequences, and they're more mindful of how they communicate or how they behave in the world so that they can shape others through modeling and through kindness and acts of service and things like that. We'll talk about this more in a later episode, but light workers are essentially also being called to look within and internalize some of that light within themselves to heal the shadow wound. We all have a shadow wound. Every single person in the world has a shadow. It's that voice in your head, that ego that tells you that you're too scared to do something, or you shouldn't do that because everyone will laugh at you, or everyone will think you're a weirdo, or you're worried about people judging you, or you're judging others. You might be critical of yourself. You might be critical of others. It's just that voice that holds you back from doing something because of fear or doubt or lack or scarcity, or is that voice that says, you'll never get that, you'll never be able to do that, you're not good enough, you're not worthy, blah, blah, blah. That is the shadow. And what we're being called to do also is not only shine our light without us and around us, but also shine that light within us as well to heal the shadow wound. When we hear those inner voices, that ego, that shadow, that toxic ego, we can really give love and compassion to that and ask ourselves, is this truly what I believe anymore? Is this just a limiting belief that I have perceived in the past and have held on to? Because, it might not even be serving you anymore. It might be an old belief from when you were like 3 years old. And, it might be something your mum said, and now you've just grown up believing that, but it's not actually really true for you and for your intuition. It's just something that you haven't been aware of, that it's lingering in the shadows there. So you can shine light and love onto that as well and heal that wound. And you do that through deep self-awareness and compassion and love for yourself. Light workers are generally powerful manifestors. They're able to manifest things really easily and effortlessly. Be careful what you wish for if you're a light worker, because sometimes our wishes or the things that we manifest are by accident, and we can actually manifest things that aren't so great. So just be really positive in your affirmations and the things that you manifest, and try not to focus on, the potential downside to things like, oh, what if this happens, or what if that happens, because you don't want to manifest that into your reality unless it's something really great or something that you really want. Be careful what you wish for. Light workers are just a little bit psychic because they are intuitive, they're so in touch, and light workers can really enhance their psychic gifts. And we will do a lot of that kind of work in this membership, But it's really cool to know that if you are a light worker, you have very strong psychic gifts that you may or may not be aware of, and you can tap into those through some personal growth and development as well. Personal, spiritual, emotional growth and development will allow you to harness those psychic abilities, and you'll be able to read for yourself, for others, and to understand the world far more greatly and deeply. The main objective of a light worker is self-development, self-growth. They are here to evolve and ascend, and they are here to do that for others as well. They are a light worker because they are being called to come here and help light up the planet and make it a better place. They've always felt drawn to nature. You know, they love walking, hiking, swimming at the beach, going for runs outdoors. Anything where they can be outdoors in nature or under the moon, looking up at the stars, looking up at the clouds, looking at shapes in the clouds, really fascinated by Mother Earth. They are light workers. They care about making the planet really healthy. They'll be sustainable. They'll recycle. They'll make sustainable choices. They usually turn off lights and things like that when they leave the house. They love anything to do with helping the planet get healthy. And, you know, you might find them picking up rubbish on the street or at the beach, or if they see a bit of rubbish in the ocean, you know, they'll go and scoop it out. Things like that. They're really compassionate towards the earth. And they really want the earth to be a happy place for all animals, people, fish, oceans. They just want everyone to be happy and healthy, and they will do their part to make that happen. Okay, take out your journals or your pen and paper now, because I'm going to ask some journal prompt questions for you to reflect on and to go into introspection so that you can really touch in with your intuition and your inner light worker. So question 1, in what ways do you resonate with being a light worker? Pause this video and reflect on that question and come back when you're ready. Question 2, do you know anyone else who you believe is a light worker? Pause this video and write that down. I'll see you in a minute. Question 3, which experiences do you intuitively feel helped awaken you to your inner light worker? Perhaps there was a trauma, perhaps there was a challenge or a difficult situation, or perhaps you just read a book or someone talked about it and it just resonated for you, or perhaps it was while you were watching this video. Pause this video, write that down, answer the question, and come back in a second. Next question. Do you see your traumas, challenges, or difficulties differently after watching this video? And what I mean by that is, do you sense that they helped you awaken to your inner light worker and to have more empathy and compassion for others? If so, how so? If not, why not? Pause this video, answer the question, and come back in a second. Welcome back. Thank you so much for answering those questions. I hope that you got all the answers you needed from your intuition, and I really hope that you got what you needed out of this video. I really hope that you learned something about being a light worker and what it is to be a light worker, and I'm certain that you now know that you are 100% a light worker in some capacity. And the more that you go along with this journey of self-development and personal growth, you will develop those skills, those abilities that light even stronger and make more impact than ever before. It's important to start doing the work within before we can help others. So it's a really powerful thing that you are on this journey with me in this membership group. And I'm so grateful to have you here, and we are all in this journey together. You are my tribe, and I'm so excited. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next video.